Good afternoon and welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I am Olaji Wakil Latuji. As Muslims faithful converge in Saudi Arabia to perform the Hajj exercise, most pilgrims from Nigeria busy fixing the Arabian teeth. CoreTV News' Abiola Oluwole, who is currently in Saudi Arabia, reports the visits around the clinics in the city of Medina shows the Nigerian pilgrims are preoccupied with fixing of the tooth, which according to them symbolizes their visit to the birth country of Islam. Prices of the tooth, according to investigations, range from $9,000 for silver, $12,000 for gold, and $15,000 for artificial sounded teeth. There was jubilation at the Agor Palace Way, Okota, Lagos, residence of the Deputy Managing Director of the Sun newspaper, Stephen Wosu, this morning, following the release of his wife, Toyin, by kidnappers. She was found around the first gate, Amuwodofi, at about 2:30 a.m. by security operatives after doctors who demanded 100 million naira told the family and the police she has been dropped there. As early as 9 a.m., the residents, family members, and friends trooped in to solidarize with them. Some of the visitors, including members of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations (NIPR), shed tears of joy after discovering that the woman has been released by her captors. Initially, reporters were denied access into the compound for security reasons, but were later allowed in after Wosu intervened. At about 10:51 a.m., the couple came out of their sitting room, accompanied by two others, to address reporters who were at the balcony. Toyin wore a black dress, a blue leggings, and a pair of slippers. She looked beautiful and had a warm smile. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai has again assured Nigerians of the military's readiness to meet the 3-month deadline set by the federal government on ending the Boko Haram insurgency. He gave his word on the sidelines of the opening ceremony of the training conference of the Nigerian Army Finance Corps in Kaduna. General Buratai said his position is based on the successes being recorded by troops involved in counterinsurgency operations in the northeast.
We are moving very close, all right? Very close.
How soon are you going to end the insurgency?
Very soon, very soon.
The Nigerian military says never again will troops at the front line abandon their duties or run away from terrorist elements. Acting Director, Defense Information, Colonel Rabi Abubakar, said in an exclusive interview with CoreTV News that this is in line with new operational strategies and availability of necessary weaponry. He maintained that the presidential directive on ending the Boko Haram insurgency is achievable. Defense correspondent Pier Samuel reports.
A few days ago, the military tweeted that some major camps of Boko Haram have been taken over by troops in the northeast, while those held captive in the terrorist enclave were set free. For defense spokesman Colonel Rabi Abubakar, these and more of the recent successes are as a result of synergy between the Air Force and the Army. He was also emphatic that troops no longer abandon their duties or run away from the front line.
We are committed to ending this war. You understand? We have gotten a lot of injections of new arsenals, as I said, and the motivation is there, and the purposeful leadership is there. So I think this combination of these three, if I even stop at this, is enough, to ginger us to ensure that we achieve what we plan to achieve regarding this issue of terrorists, and I believe we'll get to where we are going.
Abubakar also maintained that the physical presence of the Chief of Army Staff in the northeast is yielding the desired result. He stated that this has boosted the morale of troops at the front line.
Remember, the Chief of Defense Staff was there, who has been there. All the services chiefs are there, who have been there. And there is no morale that you can give to troops more than the morale the services chiefs, the CDS are giving them. They are there physically with you. They eat from some pot. They sleep in the same place, trench, and what have you. So which morale, in addition to the welfare package, which what you are entitled to, you are getting it.
And as the war against insurgency enters what the military insists is the final phase, The defense spokesman wants Nigerians to continue providing adequate and timely information to security agencies. Colonel Abubakar is convinced that the insurgency will end within a few months if the citizenry, especially in the northeast, continues to be cooperative. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Nigerian army says troops have arrested 3 suspected food suppliers to the Boko Haram terrorists in Damboa, Borno State. The suspected Boko Haram accomplices were arrested with large quantity of foodstuff meant for Boko Haram insurgents at Korodi. Army spokesman Colonel Sani Husman said in a statement that 9 of the 33 suspects are from Korode, 5 from Auma, 10 from Gabube, 4 from Kasantawa, and 1 from Dulumi villages. Sani revealed that some of the suspects claimed to be traders, but did not deny buying and selling food items to the terrorists. The Transition Monitoring Group is to deploy over 500 observers for the forthcoming governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa State. The chairman, Ibrahim Zikirulai, discussed this at a news conference in Abuja. The coalition of civil society groups also plans to adopt the system used to monitor the 2015 elections across the country. We'll bring you details of that report in the subsequent bulletins. The Senate has declared its readiness to strengthen the laws empowering the Public Complaints Commission to ensure accountability in public service. This was one of the assurances given to principal officers of the Commission, led by the chairman, Emmanuel Ugbile, by the leadership of the Senate. Senate President Bukola Saraki argued that the Commission had not done enough in its 4 years of existence to resolve the numerous cases of administrative complaints and petitions brought before it.
Respondent not giving us the required support and response. And we have defined for ourselves a way out of it, that we shall not sit and watch because we are protected by the Act to take necessary action. We want to let the public know that this team that you have put on ground does not intend to leave things the way they have been. We intend to push further and ensure that complaints by Nigerians are redressed at appropriate time, in appropriate manner.
The name of PCC should make people in the public service sit up, but it's not the case. But I hope that under your time, with our support, it will be the case. Because what is affecting this country is this impunity. People believe that they can get away with anything and nothing is to be done. And I think I want to assure you that the 8th Senate will do all that we can so that you will have bite. It's not just for you to be there, you must be able to implement. You must, the idea of a respondent not feel that he must call and answer you. You must show your strength in being able to do that. And be assured that we'll back you fully. And even if there are areas that need amendment, I was going through your law, the fine is 500 naira. That already does not help anybody in making things. When the fine is only 500 naira, you might just ignore you or the issues, but you must be able to. You must be able to sanction. You must be able to make examples. And we as a Senate must back you up with those examples.
Meanwhile, Senate President Bukola Saraki has declared as frivolous the 13-count charge of forcing anticipatory declaration of assets leveled against him by the Court of Conduct Bureau. The Senate President was said to have contravened sections of the 1999 Constitution as well as those of the Code of Conduct Bureau in 2003. Speaking on the sidelines of a court's visits by commissioners from the Public Complaints Commission, the Senate President insisted that he did not falsely declare his assets when he was governor of Kwara State.
There's no doubt about it that it is mischievous. It is not correct. The issues there are not true. And as far as we are concerned, we're not shaken. We focus on what we are coming to. Elected by the people, elected by my community, to work for what is good for the interests of this country. And along those lines, I think we should be. We thought these things like this had gone with this.
The National Bureau of Statistics is set for early tracking of the progress of the proposed United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for effective implementation in Nigeria. Statistician General of the Federation, Yemi Kale, made this known in Abuja at a stakeholders workshop on data mapping for the SDGs in Nigeria. Kale noted that the measures became necessary to avoid a repeat of some of the challenges that hampered the effective monitoring of MDG's implementation in the country. The SDGs is an international development framework due to be signed by over 140 nations, including Nigeria, in the coming weeks.
As Nigeria prepares to usher in the new Sustainable Development Framework as defined by the SDGs, there is a need earlier on to set out a comprehensive, well-defined and coordinated strategy for data production at both national and subnational levels to effectively track progress towards achieving the proposed goals. This is very critical to ensure that everything necessary is put in place to avoid a repeat of some of the challenges I've mentioned that we experienced during the MDG's implementation.
Former governor of the old Ondo State, Bamidele Olumiloro, has debunked his alleged arrest by the police for holding a illegal meeting at his hotel. The elder statesman, who spoke to newsmen in Ikere Ekiti, however, confirmed that he was invited by the police on the strength of a petition written by the Secretary of the All Progressives Congress in the state. Olumiloro blames the problem of the APC in Ekiti State and the several factions within the party, which he and other stakeholders were trying to bring together.
The party, to start with, was shocked by the defeat of the party in 5 elections in this state. Because we were divided, we were not united, we were beaten. People started to accuse us, those who are older generally. They begin to say, you are there now, and this party is dying. So I started calling them together. The various groups, I brought 5 of them together, who are saying now they believe in what we are doing. Out of the 6 groups, we brought together 5. Only 1 remained, and we are trying to bring all of them.
You're still watching CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a break now. We'll be back on more stories. Please stay with us.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth. Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell.
On Core Digest,
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we'll bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has a right in Nigeria,
where you are the judge.
Thank you for joining us again. For more news and other programs, please visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can follow us on Twitter at CoreTV News and G. Also visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/CoreTV News. The Nigerian Bar Association is opposed to call by the organized labor for capital punishment for public offense orders found guilty of corruption and corrupt practices in the country. President of the association, Augustine Alega, while receiving the national president of the Nigerian Labour Congress at the Bar House in Abuja, said it is not ideal that while other countries are moving away from capital punishment, Nigerians will be advocating for such. He stated that the government needs to evolve measures that will prevent people from looting the treasury, pointing out that the newly introduced treasury single account is a measure in the right direction. Alega also disclosed that the plea bargain, which has formed part of the justice system in the country, is a good measure of recovering stolen money from people. The rest of the trio of Yakubu Dankaba, Yaya Baba and Husband Abdul Kim at Area 3 of Garkida Street in Abuja for their involvement in the 20 million naira fraud The suspect allegedly posed as EFCC operators with the aim of extorting the money from the FCT Water Board director. The commission said in a statement that they had written a letter notifying him of an investigation, but offered to help him quash it if he could part with 20 million naira. Suspecting that he was about to be swindled, the director alerted the EFCC, which swung into action and caught the three suspects. The commission plans to charge the suspect to court as soon as investigations are completed. The state government has set up a committee to ensure the takeoff of the Ado-Ekiti airport project. In a statement issued, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Idowu Adelusi, says the committee will start with the marking out of the 2,000 acres out of the 6,000 acres of land set apart for the project. He said this would also be a relief to air travelers in Ekiti State who would no longer need to travel far to catch their flights. Adelusi disclosed that the committee is chaired by the Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure, Kaya Diosho. Moving to Osun State, the state government has approved the payment of its workers' salary arrears till the month of June. The approval came as a result of an agreement reached by the state government and labor leaders in the state after protracted crisis which had made the government-labor relations go sour for some time. Rashid has more.
The attendant crisis between the Osun State government and labor unions may now be heading for final settlement as both parties reach agreement on the payment schedule of the salary arrears of the workers. At the end of the meeting attended by both state government and labor representatives, the state chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Adekomi Jacob, explained that the payment covers arrears of March, April and May 2015 for state workers and April, May, June for local government workers and primary school teachers. Adekomi further noted that the deductions from September and December salary as well as balance of January and February salary will also be paid. According to him, state pensioners will receive balance of December 2014 pensions and full payment of January to March 2015, while their counterparts in the local government and primary schools will be paid up to June.
In order to ensure sustainability of payment of salaries in the state of Osun, the full disbursement from the bailout loan should cover the payment of outstanding September and December 2014 deductions, balance of January and February salaries, and full payment of March, April, and May 2015 salaries for state government workers. With this, that means it has erased the impression that the state government of Osun has slashed the workers' salaries.
The Chief of Staff to the Governor, Boyega Oyetola, assured workers that the payment for June and July 2015 will be made in October, while the state pensioners will be paid their April dues.
Whatever remains from the federal allocation will now be added to whatever we are able to generate from internet generated revenue, and that will be the basis of payment of salary and the running of government in a transparent manner. Whatever is available is going to be put on the table for everybody to see, and we agree the proportion that could cover both in terms of salary, pension, and the running of government, and that is fair enough.
In an agreement signed by both parties, they also agreed that whatever is available from the allocation from the federal account and internally generated revenue be used in a way to accommodate salaries, pensions, and other important expenses of the state government. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has assured the State Independent Electoral Commission of absolute independence. Speaking during the swearing-in of the chairman, Saratu Diko, the government maintained that the government has no interest in interfering with the activities of the commission, especially the conduct of local government election. He, however, expects the credible leaders will emerge at the grassroots.
It is your integrity and your name that brought you here. We are quite confident that you preserve your name and your integrity. You are independent. The Deputy Governor and I will never ask you to do anything to subvert the Constitution or do what is wrong. We will not ask you to write results of elections or rig elections. We will not ask you to disqualify candidates. We are not interested in who wins the elections. We are only interested that the people decide who wins elections. This is a promise. You will never get a phone call from me or from the Deputy Governor. And if any official of the Kaduna State Government calls you in our name, just know that he is lying. You should always do the right thing.
He has made a very categorical statement that government is not going to interfere with the election of local government officials, that we are free to go by the law. We had all taken an oath that we will defend the Constitution of this country, and God helping us, that is what we are going to do. We'll ensure that the elections are free, fair, and credible.
The National Broadcast Commission has set 20th of June 2017 as the new date to attain its broadcast digitization project. It, however, says by November 2015, a pilot of licensed channels will be launched in JAS. Citing reasons for the initial delay in digitization, NBC's Director General Emeka Mba says reliance on the government to provide direction and financial support was the major setback. For the CEO of Technology Terms, Shino Badero, the small sector box will be delivering voice services, while the publisher Bayero Agabi spoke in developing and managing content.
The problem we had with digiting was the fact there was no money. Government established this digiting, but didn't resource them. With the approval and with the money we have now, there's a dedicated account for digiting.
With just a small set-top box in the house today, Nigeria will become part of that Internet of Things, in which that set-top box is delivering voice services, is delivering internet services, is delivering scores of television channels. I think that's a major game changer for Nigeria.
So how we manage our content, how we develop our content, how we monetize our content, how all of this play out in improving our collective and personal economics. What that means is that you have to up your skills, you have to up your knowledge, you have to up your expertise.
The health sector in Nigeria has remained a focal point where all members of the public yearn for good medical care. It is on this view that the Association of Medical Social Workers of Nigeria held her first inauguration in order to commemorate their successes in the health sector. Despite all challenges affecting the sector, another event was held at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, where they held the view that the association has come of age.
The inauguration being done here today is a remarkable one, and it's a step in the right direction. It is an important and wonderful opportunity to engage all medical social work practitioners throughout the Federation to come together in unity in order to promote our collective interests and help deepen the understanding of the practice of medical social work in the country. I have confidence that today's events will enhance cooperation and earn us greater recognition as professionals and partners in progress of the development of our great country, especially in the medical field.
The Governor of Lagos State, Akinwumi Ambode, has pledged that his administration will pursue programs and policies that will empower women to be self-reliant, especially through the provision of financial facilities and capacity building. The Governor made the pledge at the opening ceremony of the 2015 National Women Conference, organized by the Committee of Wives on Lagos State Officials, with the theme Relevance in Economic Turbulence. The Southern State's government, in recognition of its female population of over 11 million, has continued to increase budgetary provision for women through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. Ambode further disclosed that his administration will continue to create more platforms for women engagement in the state. We'll take another break now, but back of business news.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV. Leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Despite the CBN's uphill struggle to keep the naira from falling further, President Muhammadu Buhari believes the naira must not be devalued. Now, speaking in an interview with France 24, he says it's not healthy for Nigeria to have the naira devalued further. According to the president, that's why the federal government is getting the central bank to make modifications in terms of making foreign exchange available to essential services, industries, spare parts, essential raw materials, and so on. The naira had fallen to as low as 242 naira per dollar on the parallel market in July versus the official rate of 197 naira. It has lost around 15% against the dollar over the past year, with official devaluation in November and a de facto one in February. However, Buhari's position conflicts with those of some local and foreign economists and analysts who believe the naira must be devalued. They believe the expulsion of Nigeria from the global bond index by JP Morgan might have reduced pressure on the CBN to devalue the naira, but the ultimate issue must be for the CBN to devalue the naira. The Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, Umar Ibrahim, says full implementation of the Treasury's single account policy will help banks to diversify their sources of deposits mobilization. Now, according to him, the policy has shown that the era of armchair banking in Nigeria is over. He spoke just during the opening of a research building complex donated by the NDIC to the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. Ibrahim was stressed that the implementation of the policy should not be strange to the banks. He says banks have been warned about 3 years ago to take steps that would make them not to over-rely on government deposits. On the rumor of mass retrenchments in the banking system due to the TSA policy, the NDIC boss says that the rumor was unfounded. He emphasized the organizational renewal was a continuous exercise whereby banks not only patronized the branches and entire operations to enhance efficiency, but also undertake. The Debt Management Office has said the federal government of Nigeria bonds remain safe and liquid despite the planned phasing out of the debt instruments by JP Morgan. At a press conference in Abuja on Wednesday, the Director General, Abraham Wankwa, assured investors of the safety and liquidity of their investments in the FGN bonds. Now, according to him, the DMO will demonstrate the viability of the instrument on Friday at its scheduled issuance of FGN bonds. Wankwa says JP Morgan's proposed phasing out of the FGN bonds from its government bond index. Emerging markets did not amount to downgrade of Nigeria or the federal government bonds since JP Morgan was not a credit rating agency. The DMO boss said it was JP Morgan that applied to lift FGN bonds on its index in 2012. Now, this, he added, was 9 years after the government has developed its market all alone. Now, claiming that the planned phasing out of the securities would not impact on the quality of the FGN bonds, Wankwa further said the bonds remained risk-free securities that were backed by the full faith and credit of the federal government and charged upon the general assets of Nigeria. For stories outside Nigeria, presidential guard officers in Burkina Faso have announced the dissolution of the transitional government. Lieutenant Colonel Mamadou Bamba said on state television that a new National Democratic Council had taken control to end the deviant regime. Interim Parliament Speaker Charles Sai said the move was clearly a coup. Heavy shooting could be heard at the main square in the capital to disperse protesters, reports the BBC from the city. On Wednesday, the Presidential Guard arrested interim President Michel Kafando and Prime Minister Isaac Zida at the cabinet meeting at the Presidential Palace. They were due to hand power to a new government after elections on the 11th of October. Now, you'll recall the long-serving ruler Blaise Compaoré was hosted in a popular uprising last year. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said he is shocked after Hungarian police fired tear gas and water cannon to force migrants back from its border. Ban said such treatments of asylum seekers were totally unacceptable. Hundreds were involved in the clashes at the Hungary-Serbia border on Wednesday, trying to breach a razor wire fence, and more than 5,000 migrants have entered Croatia so far, avoiding Hungary. Now, police say another 7,266 entered Germany on Wednesday. while German police said this was more than double the number that crossed the previous day, adding that most were picked up on the border with Austria. Now, Germany is the final goal of many migrants as the European Union remains divided over how to deal with the crisis. Donald Trump has come under attack from all sides in the fiery debate between the top Republican presidential candidate and the 2016 election. The party's frontrunner, a billionaire businessman with no political experience, refused to apologize over comments by the wife of Jeb Bush. He was also on the receiving end when Carla Fiorina drew huge applause facing up to his recent jibe over her looks. 15 Republicans are vying to be the party's White House nominee in 2016. But more than a year until polling day, the second Republican debate in the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in California saw Bush and Trump trading blows several times.
That kind of careless language to be negotiating with Putin. We want someone like that to be negotiating with Iran. His visceral response to attack people on their appearance, short, tall, fat, ugly. My goodness, that happened in junior high. Are we not way above that? Would we not all be worried to have someone like that in charge of the nuclear arsenal?
Mr. Trump. I never attacked him on his look, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there.
Donald Trump said the following about you, quote, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president?" Mr. Trump later said he was talking about your persona, not your appearance.
I think women all over this country heard very clearly what Mr. Trump said.
I think she's got a beautiful face, and I think she's a beautiful woman.
But let me say this flat out. Donald Trump is unfit to be president of the United States or the Republican Party's nominee.
And Mr. Trump, we don't need an apprentice in the White House. We don't need an apprentice in the White House. We have one right now.
And in sport, a former Nigerian under-20 coach, Manu Garba, has been appointed coach of NPFL side Giwa FC, according to a statement by the club. This comes a day after former coach Aminu Musa resigned. Garba, whose most recent job was in charge of the Flying Eagles when they reached the round of 16 at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in New Zealand, was introduced to his new squad on Wednesday evening after holding a meeting with club proprietor Barrister Chris Giwa. Garba led Nigeria's under-17 team to win the 2013 FIFA Under-17 World Cup in the United Arab Emirates and is seen as a truly grassroots coach with a keen eye for scouting young talent. The details of the contracts have not yet been disclosed by the club, but former coach Musa resigned on Wednesday morning, citing personal reasons after the side's recent loss to Taraba FC. Giwa FC are fifth in the NPFL log with 46 points from 29 games and will host Sharks FC in their next game at the Wangpan Stadium in Jos. Chelsea boss Jose Mourinho said he had forgotten the winning feeling after his side reacted to the worst start to the Premier League season with a 4-0 victory over Maccabi Tel Aviv. The Blues entered the Champions League opening with 1 win from 5 matches. Despite an early missed penalty by Eden Hazard, goals from Willian, Oscar Diego Costa, and Zed Fabregas ensured Chelsea had no problems in seeing off their Australian opponents. Jose Mourinho was delighted that Chelsea made a winning start to their Champions League campaign on Wednesday, but said he was not happy that Manchester United, Manchester City and Arsenal had all lost their opening matches in the season's competition. Chelsea, who have made a poor start to the defense of their Premier League title, winning only one of their opening 5 matches, clinched a 4-0 win over Israeli champion Maccabi Tel Aviv at the Stamford Bridge. They were the only one of the EPL's 4 contenders to win after Manchester City were beaten 2-1 by Juventus and Manchester United lost 2-1 to PSV on Tuesday. Arsenal were also beaten 2-1 at Dinamo Zagreb on Wednesday. And finally, Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger says forward Olivier Giroud sending off in Wednesday's Champions League match against Dinamo Zagreb was very harsh after his 10-man team lost the Group F contest to Zagreb's Massacre Stadium. Criticized for not being clinical enough in front of goal, Giroud's frustration got the better of him when he was first booked for dissent after his reaction to the referee giving a foul against him. He was eventually sent off after a tackle on Dinamo Zagreb's Alvaro Pinto, and the 40th minute saw him pick up a second yellow card as Arsenal went on to lose 2-1. Wenger insisted Romanian referee Ovidiu Otagan was harsh on flashing the second yellow card. Crucial UEFA Champions League Giroud's red card was harsh, as Wenger says. But that's it, a wrap on CoreTV News at 4. Many thanks for watching. I am Olajumoke Latitude. Good afternoon.